Go make it work. Our unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Go make it work. Unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Go make it work. Our unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Go make it work. Our unions make it work. The Union View. Hello, welcome to the Union View. Yes, the best thing you can do is to teach.
Oh, of course,
Is to teach. You know, not to be cliche-ish, but
Right.
another, slogan that we use is, instead of, you meet a man who is hungry
Yeah.
and you give him a fish sandwich, but if you teach him how to fish,
Right.
he can eat forever.
Forever.
He can eat forever. So, it's the same principle with teaching and, and teaching union members about what it is to be a union member and what a union really is. It's very important because in this way, when a member has an issue or problem that comes up and you go in to represent them, the first time is an experience.
Right.
And that's a teaching moment. So the first time that you come across the issue, whatever it may have been, it's a learning
Right.
experience. But I've given you now the tools. I've told you your rights under the contract. I've
Right.
told you your responsibilities as a union member. And now we know how to move through this scenario. So I've given you the tools you need so that in the future, if something like this were to happen, you're not going to come running looking for me to come and
Right.
fix the problem.
They can be self-sufficient.
Because I should have been able to relay that message to you as to how you can do this now for yourself.
Exactly.
Teach
I
you
agree.
how to get through whatever circumstance that might come up. It might be a different circumstance, but the rights and responsibilities that you have as a union member still remain the same.
I agree.
I
agree,
so
yes.
that's the beautiful thing about Union 101. Teaching people who they are as union members, your rights as a union member.
101 is Weingarten Act.
And right,
Yeah.
101.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do. So I am just like overwhelmed with all of this information. We got like 20 minutes on this show, so we don't have time to go through all 50 of the pioneers. But just looking at, Leon Davis, Bernie Minter, Jesse Olson, organized 1199 professionals, another key player.
And that's hard to do.
That's right. And you know,
professionals
as a
are
former
real hard.
pharmacy technician,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've worked a lot with pharmacists.
Yeah.
And then as an electrophysiology technician, working with other professionals, it is very difficult, to get the professional technical classification workers involved, heavily into unionism or union activities in the hospital because their jobs actually require so much
Right.
stress, not require stress, but they require a lot of attention
Right.
and focus. And so, they kind of may get a little divided. If, you talk about, come to this meeting and, come over here, we're going to be doing this and this and that. We have a meeting about, whatever with the union, but, they got a whole load of patients and
Right.
they got stuff going on that they really need to focus on. And so it may appear like they're divided and not really interested in union, but a lot of times it's that, the workload is so great that they really don't have a lot of time.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
To focus on union activities. But I just want to mention a little bit about Jesse.
Definitely,
Jesse Olson,
definitely.
he organized 1199 professionals. Jesse Olson, for 20 years, he led 1199's drive to organize white-collar employees. He was a central figure in building 1199 as a hospital union. Olson was best known as head of the union's Guild of Professional Technical Office and Clerical Employees. The Guild began in 1964, grew to 30,000 members under Olson's leadership. In addition, Olson was a close advisor to President Leon Davis
Right.
in all important union decisions. Olson joined 1199 as a Manhattan pharmacist in 1948.
Wow.
He was a delegate when the union began its citywide hospital organizing drive in 1959. He took a pay cut that year from $175 a week as a pharmacist to $110 as a strike organizer at Beth Israel, because he said later it was an opportunity to do God's work. And you know,
That's passion.
that's passion, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is so much passion.
He saw the opportunity and he jumped for it.
Right.
There was no hesitation. He knew that was his calling.
Absolutely, to do God's work. And so we have a few minutes, and I just want to actually talk a little bit about this picture.
This one.
And yes, this picture is a picture of the late Coretta Scott King. And Mrs. Coretta Scott King prays with workers during the historic 1969 hospital strike in Charleston, South Carolina. That strike was the springboard for the union's growth into a national hospital union. Now, this is 1969 Charleston,
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Wow.
South Carolina.
A lot of turmoil, yeah.
A lot of turmoil, and this is Coretta Scott King actually praying with the striking workers. And Mary Moultrie, who is one of the founders, you know, real, you know, leaders in Charleston, South Carolina during that time. And here's a picture of her. And this is Mary Moultrie now.
Wow.
And when I think about Charleston, South Carolina, the South, and striking workers, I mean, that had to take a lot of heart,
Oh, yeah.
you know, for them to actually take that step. But in 1969, a group of 500 workers, mostly young black women at the Medical College Hospital of the University of South Carolina and Charleston County Hospital, both in Charleston, South Carolina, went on strike to protest the firing of 12 of their co-workers. And
I see.
you know, we're going to continue this discussion about the 50-year anniversary of hospital workers being in 1199 at another show.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to thank you, Nathan, for coming and beginning the discussion.
Yes.
And we look forward to the next opportunity that we have to talk about other pioneers of 1199 and people who struggled to make sure that workers had their rights and that their rights were preserved. I want to thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
It has been informative. It has been
Yes.
enthusiastic, and I look forward to being here again too.
Great.
It was a great time. It was
Thanks.
a great time.
Thank you. Well, you have been watching The Union View. I am your host, Gina Miller. I want to thank again my guest, Nathan Revels, and I welcome you to watch The Union View.
The Union View. The Union View.
Work, work, gon' make it work. Unions make it work. Work, work, gon' make it work. Our unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Gon' make it work. Unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Gon' make it work. Our unions make it work.
The Union View. The Union View.
Gon' make it work. Our unions make it work.
The Union View.